I was happening, y'all. It's your boy Rico from RicoScores, and I don't know if y'all have been on Twitter lately over the past few hours, but right now there is pure chaos because Albert Breer said that the Washington Commanders are leaning towards the Commanders, and he said it with a little bit more confidence than I would have expected. Also, Jayden Daniels is now the betting odd favorite to be the Washington Commanders' second overall pick. So is there fire where there's smoke? We're going to do a full dive into all of this information. And I also want to preface the fact that all of this could be just complete lies. This could be just completely rumor mill lion season stuff. I'm just here to have fun. So don't take any of this way too seriously at all. I just want to do a deep dive into what's going on, because you even have some people that say that they prefer Drake Maye if they were selecting with the Washington Commanders' second overall pick, but even they feel like Jayden Daniels is more likely to be the pick. We're going to dive into that. And then also at the end of the video, we're going to dive into some Drake Maye love. We just can't leave Drake Maye out there on an island only getting ridiculed and Jayden Daniels is better than him and everything like that. So we're going to give him some love at the end and show where a lot of other people feel like Drake Maye is more likely to go second overall. So it's going to be like a nice little clash. We're going to let Jayden Daniels get his rounds off first, and then we're going to end it with Drake Maye for his rebuttal. But before we dive into all of that, make sure you stiff arm that like button, stiff arm the subscription button, and stiff arm the bell next to that subscription button so you get notification each and every time I release an informative and opinionated video just like this one. Also, RicoScores is no longer playing around, so make sure you go follow my Facebook, my TikTok, and Instagram. We're keeping constant updates over there as well, so make sure you follow those. Those links are all in the description of not only this video, but they'll be in the description of every video from now on, every live stream, all of that. So make sure you stay tuned because I'm working on a mock draft. Only reason it's taking this long is because I'm really taking my time with this one. I don't want to just put out some random names out there. I'm really trying to find some true sleepers and gems, so I'm watching a lot of tape. I'm also working on a potential trade back up into the first round to get a tackle type thing with this mock draft as well. So this is going to be like a combination of post free agency mock draft, after we traded away Sam Howell mock draft, and trade back up into the first round, all in one mock. But let's go ahead and get to this video with what you're here for. Let's get it. Adam. All right, well, first of all, there was a report back on March 15th from Daniel Jeremiah and the guys that moved the sticks that said, quote, "The strong expectation around the NFL is that 4 of the first 6 picks will be quarterbacks, and that's more than likely going to be Caleb Williams, Jayden Daniels, Drake Maye, and JJ McCarthy in no specific order, even though I'm hoping that probably is the exact order. At the very least, Caleb Williams first, because that makes the most sense, and then I'm hoping that that especially not the Commanders end up taking JJ McCarthy second overall. But that, let's just go ahead and start there with that one. Apparently, there's growing momentum that this will be a very heavy quarterback top 5 pick type of situation, and a guy like Marvin Harrison Jr. will probably make it, or will probably go like at the soonest 4th overall in the draft. Maybe even not there, because you never know. There's a lot of momentum growing for the Minnesota Vikings to potentially trade ahead of the New York Giants, who are at 6th, and they're potentially even looking at like a JJ McCarthy or something like that. There's heavy interest there between the Giants, the Vikings, a lot of other teams. We already went to dinner with JJ McCarthy and everything last night, yesterday evening, whatever. So there's just pure growing momentum. First of all, there's just momentum that JJ McCarthy is even potentially going to go before Drake Maye all of a sudden in the past couple of weeks, but that's for another video. I've already talked about that in another video briefly. Maybe we could dive specifically into that in our own separate video, but we're here mostly for the Jayden Daniels versus Drake Maye specifically. But I did want to point out the fact that there is growing momentum, and there's a strong expectation that 4 quarterbacks will go in the top 6 picks. And basically, remember that 6th pick again is the New York Giants, so that's basically like considered to be the floor for JJ McCarthy, just to let you know. And then also, again, I just did a breakdown yesterday on how really nobody knows who the Commanders prefer right now. But we are still going to do a little bit of diving and reading some clues with the new information that I've received since just last night. I still personally feel like nobody really actually knows what's gonna happen. But I just want to give y'all all of the details and rumors that I've heard and seen over the past few hours. Literally, again, like I said before the intro, all of this could just be pure lies. Who knows at all? But I'm here for the chaos. And again, I'm only doing this video because I just want to have some fun, man. Why not? So, first up, as of March 19th, there was a rumor going around that a lot of insiders, background people in the NFL, decision makers, executive scouts, and things like that, believe that Jayden Daniels to the Commanders is becoming more and more of a lock. Not even like a preference or a lean, a pure lock. That was March 19th. Then all of a sudden, I think last night or maybe this morning, at this point, I'm all over the place with time because I'm just super busy. I be in and out of naps and stuff. So I really don't even know when I saw this first. But Albert Breer from Sports Illustrated was on television, and during his television appearance, the respected insider suggested Washington is targeting LSU prospect Jayden Daniels via USA Today Sports. This is based on what offensive coordinator Cliff Kingsbury looks for in his quarterbacks and his conversations with people around the league. Those are two things. So Albert Breer is saying is that it's based on not only just fit, but also what he's hearing behind the scenes talking to people in real NFL circles, people that are actually really plugged in. Maybe some scouts, maybe some executives, who knows? But he's talking to people around the league. But at the same time, like I pointed out in a previous video, if he's not talking directly to Adam Peters, then none of this information probably matters at all. Like this is all null and void. But at the same time, based on what he's hearing around the league from maybe other teams, executives and decision makers and things like that. And then again, to throw fit back in there with Cliff Kingsbury, that's why he's predicting Jayden Daniels to the Commanders. His exact quote, "The more I've started to ask around, the more it seems like Jayden Daniels is probably the leader in the clubhouse to be a Commander." It does match up with what Cliff Kingsbury looked for in his quarterbacks over the years, unquote. And it's like a way longer video. It's like a whole 48-second clip going around. And for some reason in the clip, the volume is so low. So just to warn you, if you ever land on that clip, just make sure you have your volume ready to be turned up. It's not you, it's whoever ended up tweeting that out there. I appreciate you, but boy, the volume on it is crazy low, man. But either way, there's also some other stats backing the fact that Jayden Daniels is more likely going second overall. According to Summer Sports, like at Summer Sports on Twitter, they did like a probability of being picked at spots 2 through 8 in the 2024 NFL draft. And so when it came to second overall specifically, whatever data they have, it says derived from odds at FanDuel, Jayden Daniels is 53.5% to go second overall. Drake May is 36.2%. Marvin Harrison is 5.2%. Caleb Williams is 2.9%. And JJ McCarthy is 2.3%. So there goes another one. And basically, based on FanDuel and their odds, it looks like if they had to predict the draft right now, it would be Caleb Williams, then Jayden Daniels to us, then Drake May, then Marvin Harrison Jr., then Malik Neighbors, then JJ McCarthy to the Giants, then Joe Alt, and then Dallas Turner. That's how they predict the draft to go based on their betting odds, their statistics, whatever they got going on based on FanDuel right there. Also, I'm not saying that this necessarily means anything seriously. This could just be some severe background work, some due diligence, because we did fly all the way to Michigan to have dinner with JJ McCarthy. But at the same time, yesterday, for like a lot of people didn't necessarily notice this, but Dan Quinn and Adam Peters were at Notre Dame's Pro Day talking to former LSU offensive coordinator Mike Denbrock, which is, of course, a guy that's attached to Jayden Daniels. They're probably trying to get some background information on him. I think that's really interesting for them to go out of their way to do that. And it's like the way they're talking to him, it's only them three in the whole shot. Like you have a decent view of like the practice field and like it's only them three and they're just purely talking to him. So maybe they're trying to find out who Jayden Daniels is as like a person, like his habits, his study habits, his film study habits, his work ethic off the field, how is he as a leader, locker room guy, all of that type of stuff. I'm assuming they're going that route by talking with him. And I'm not gonna lie, man, based on what I've heard from Jayden Daniels, off the field and things like that. If they're trying to dive into who he is as a person, they could potentially end up falling in love with who he is as a person, because I think he is a really great guy and a really great leader. But the same could be said with Drake Maye. So who knows? But I just thought that was interesting that they went to Notre Dame's pro day. Maybe it wasn't the only thing, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was the main reason they went there, just to be able to talk to his former offensive coordinator. Like, Mike Denbrock and Jayden Daniels were literally at LSU for the same amount of time, the 2022 season and the 2023 season. So if anybody knows him, it's him. Maybe Brian Kelly is the head coach of LSU, knows him quite a bit, but I feel like probably nobody knows him better than Denbrock, and I appreciate the fact that they went to Notre Dame's pro day to speak with him rather than waiting just for LSU's pro day, where Denbrock would not be at, since now he works for Notre Dame. He more than likely would not have been at LSU's pro day. So thank you, Dan Quinn and Adam Peters, for realizing that and strategizing around that and being like, okay, let's go to Notre Dame's pro day so we could talk to Jayden Daniels' offensive coordinator, because the new LSU offensive coordinator that's hired there now that will more than likely be at LSU's pro day has no attachment probably to Jayden Daniels, unless it's somebody that was promoted from within, maybe their quarterback's coach. I have no idea. But either way, smart job by Dan Quinn and Adam Peters, and apparently they're doing some serious homework on Jayden Daniels, even going to other teams' pro days to get to know Jayden Daniels a little bit better behind the scenes. Now moving on, Jayden Daniels, as of March 12th, is also the new betting favorite for the number 2 overall pick in the draft. And Drake Maye, just to let you know, held that title for months. Let's dive into it. So apparently Jayden Daniels is the new favorite to be the number 2 overall pick in the NFL draft. The LSU quarterback has seen his stock surge in the past couple of months, and now the betting markets give him better odds than Drake Maye to be taken 2nd overall. And before we even dive into the rest of the article, even though this is Lion season, and I'm not really giving this any stock, because again, I'm just here for the fun, I'm just here for the chaos, and my main mission here with this video is to give you any information that I've seen, that I've heard, whether it's a flat out live rumor or whatever. I still feel like y'all need it. But I think it is interesting that neither of these guys have thrown a single pass in months, and somehow Jayden Daniels' stock is rising. Like, what is it rising off of? Like, based off of what is his stock rising? I doubt it's just people watching more of his tape. I just really don't think it's that. It has to be something behind the scenes. It could be a situation where there's smoke, there's probably fire. I don't know. Again, this could be completely Lion season, but honestly, what is this, just pure narrative? Is this just pure media driven narrative to just hate on Drake Maye? I have absolutely no idea, because again, nothing has happened these past few months since Drake Maye was the betting odds favorite to not being Jayden Daniels, anything significant on the field wise at the very least. I don't feel like their interviews may have had enough of an impact at the draft. Once we'll get the team visits in, maybe that will be a little bit better, because again, at the combine, these formal interviews where you personally meet with the team, where it's like Drake Maye with the Commanders, Jayden Daniels with the Commanders, it's only 20, I think, not even 30 minutes. Whereas when they come in for visits, you can have them for as long as you want, I believe. I don't think there's any restrictions there. You can take them to dinner, you can have them work out, you can have them throw for you, you can do film study with those guys and ask them certain specific questions. The top 30 visits are far more impactful on the decision making on who they end up wanting to take in the draft and things like that. So we'll see when we get there. So my main point is that I don't feel like the combine really had much to affect with it, other than everybody being in the same place at the same time. So everybody's hearing the same whispers, everybody's hearing the same rumors and reports coming from scouts and executives and things like that. So at this point, with nothing, again, anything changing between what Jayden Daniels or Drake Maye have done, I don't feel like either of them have done anything to make them more draftable at 2nd overall or less draftable at 2nd overall. I feel like all of these betting odd changes and everything like that are purely just based on maybe there's some rumblings going on behind the scenes, is my theory. But again, I want to keep re-emphasizing, this is Lion season. I'm just here to have fun. So now, Jayden Daniels has, while Drake Maye in at -105 odds according to DraftKings on March 12th. The Washington Commanders hold the 2nd overall pick. They recently hired Cliff Kingsbury as offensive coordinator and then signed dual threat quarterback Marcus Mariota in free agency, which added to the speculation that the fleet-footed Daniels could be the choice, which, I can see both sides there, because just because you bring in Marcus Mariota does not exactly mean that you want to draft a quarterback that's more like Marcus Mariota. I don't feel like it's that serious, but at the same time, if I mean, maybe they do. You just never know. But the Marcus Mariota signing, I don't feel like it really has much of an effect on anything, to be completely honest, on my end. And then Drake Maye had negative 300 odds to be the second overall pick as of early February, but had continually lost ground over the past several weeks, and now Daniels has passed him as the favorite, although the odds makers believe either choice is still very possible. So here's a look at the top 5 candidates to be the number 2 overall pick in the draft per DraftKings. We did FanDuel earlier, now DraftKings as of March 12th. Jayden Daniels is a negative 115. Again, this is his first time being ahead of Drake Maye throughout this whole process, starting all the way back to like over a year ago. It was always Caleb Williams and Drake Maye, Caleb Williams, or whatever for the past like over a year, honestly. Now Jayden Daniels has finally passed them as of just like a week ago. And Drake Maye is negative 105. Again, Jayden Daniels is negative 115. Marvin Harrison is plus 1,000. Caleb Williams is plus 1,000. And JJ McCarthy is plus 1,800. So that's basically the same exact order as FanDuel. Even though the odds are a little bit different, the FanDuel and DraftKings having the same exact order is really interesting. Again, maybe there's fire where there's smoke. Conversely, Maye is now the favorite to be the number 3 overall pick, with Daniels, Ohio State wide receiver Marvin Harrison Jr., and Michigan quarterback JJ McCarthy also in the mix. So for 3rd overall, they don't even have Caleb Williams in there. They feel like at worst he's going to go 2nd overall no matter what happens. So they don't even have him included in this. They have Drake Maye plus 110, Jayden Daniels plus 115, Marvin Harrison plus 300, and JJ McCarthy plus 550, which makes sense. Now moving on 3, as of March 12th as well, did their own mock draft for the first round and things like that. And they have Jayden Daniels going 2nd overall. They have Marvin Harrison going 3rd, Rome Odunze going 4th, Talise Fuaga going 5th, JJ McCarthy 6th. You don't even see Drake Maye on the front page of the top 10 picks. They see Drake Maye going outside of the top 10. And just to let you know, Shannon Terry, On3 director himself, let it be known after this mock draft came out, he quote tweeted and said, "Let it go on the record that I am a huge believer in Drake Maye, will be an NFL quarterback." And he's basically saying that to say, like, I love Drake Maye. I feel like he's going to be great. But based off of what I guess On3 is hearing behind the scenes, matter of fact, this is actually through CBS Sports, but On3 just retweeted it and basically agreed with it. And so maybe CBS and On3 are hearing something behind the scenes to where we're to the point where Drake Maye isn't even going top 10 anymore. Like, it's not even a debate between Drake Maye and Jayden Daniels at number 2. Now the debate is shifted between JJ McCarthy or Drake Maye at 6. Like, how did we get here? What happened? And again, this is coming from somebody that loves Drake Maye. So you have people out here that love Drake Maye and still feel like Jayden Daniels is more likely to get picked number 2 overall. I don't know how it got here, because now even Connor Rogers and Trevor Sycamore are now projecting Jayden Daniels to the Commanders 2nd overall. And they've been predicting Drake Maye to the Commanders all season, like since the season ended, since they've been doing their mock drafts with their videos. They do like hour-long mock drafts of the first round and things like that, and they do breakdowns for each pick for the entire NFL, all first 32 picks and things like that. They've already done a few since like the season ended for the past few months this off season, and every time it's been Drake Maye 2nd overall, every time until recently, just as of like a few days ago. Now it's suddenly Jayden Daniels, and they reiterated in their live stream from a few days ago that they still both prefer Drake more. They like Drake more, but even after mocking Maye to us over the past few months, even they are now leaning towards Jayden Daniels as far as what they think is most likely to happen. So maybe they're hearing some things behind the scenes as well. And then that's not even the end of the list for people who like Drake Maye more, but feel like the Commanders are more likely to end up taking Jayden anyway. Because the guys at the Ringer Draft podcast with Ben Solak and all of those guys, also, they generally prefer Drake Maye. I believe all of them. I think it's like 3 or 4 of them all prefer Drake Maye. But they even in their most recent mock draft as of a couple of days ago picked Jayden Daniels to go 2nd overall to the Commanders. And they made sure to let us know in there. They reiterated over and over again that they disagree with that pick. But even they still feel like Jayden Daniels is more likely to go 2nd overall. So even Drake Maye truthers are starting to lean towards Jayden as far as what's most likely to happen come like a month and 3 days from now, which is absolutely insane. I mean, again, how did we get to this point? Speaking of point, we're also to the point we're saying Drake Maye will go before JJ McCarthy in the draft and just third overall or just before JJ McCarthy in general is defending Drake Maye. Like, when did the bar get that low all of a sudden to where you saying Drake Maye will go before JJ McCarthy is you defending Drake Maye? Like, how did the bar get that far down? And like, there was also a significant reaction when Daniel Jeremiah said that Drake Maye could still be in play for Washington as second overall. Like, it was a hot take or something. Like, when did Drake Maye fall out of the running for being the second overall pick for the Commanders? Like, when did saying that Drake Maye will go before JJ McCarthy or even still has a slight chance of going to the Commanders second overall end up becoming a hot take? Like, when did that happen? But like I mentioned before the intro, we're not going to leave this video without showing Drake Maye just a little bit of love as well. And this is actually a lot of love. So if you look on the screen right now, as you can see, here's where Drake Maye and Jayden Daniels are ranked on recent draft boards from the NFL mock draft database.com. This is just where they rank the players, not where they are mocked. So let's emphasize that. This is where they feel like how good these guys are, not necessarily mock drafts. And like I already explained, there are a lot of people out there that like Drake Maye more and still feel like Jayden Daniels will end up going before Drake Maye in the draft, second overall to the Commanders. So I just wanted to show Drake Maye some love right here. As you can see, I'm not just going to sit here and read off every single name. You can see it on the screen and things like that. But my point is, even though Drake Maye is getting the most love, he's ranked higher than Jayden Daniels on more mock drafts and more big boards than not. But still, I mean, what does it matter when you have people out here like Trevor Sikkema and the guys at the Ringer and Connor Rogers, all guys that prefer Drake Maye, but are still mocking Jayden Daniels to the Commanders? But again, wanted to show Drake Maye some love here, and this is a lot of love. Jayden Daniels is only above Drake Maye on 3 website/analyst big boards. You have Tankathon, you have Brian Bassarge of Draft Countdown, and Kyle Stackpole of CBS Sports. Everybody else has Drake Maye above Jayden Daniels, and the lowest that Drake Maye is on the Draft Countdown at 12th overall. You have some people that have Jayden Daniels at 19th, 22nd, 18th, 14th, 29th, 24th, and 15th on their big boards. And speaking of low on these guys, Connor Rogers himself has Jayden Daniels as his 18th player on his board. Trevor Sikkema has Jayden Daniels as his 22nd player on his big board. And again, both of those guys still feel like Jayden Daniels is more likely to end up going to the Commanders second overall. So this is just chaos. Then you have Pro Football Network, who came out and said they did their own big board just 2 days ago and said that Drake Maye is actually their favorite quarterback prospect. They have it as Drake Maye 1, Caleb Williams 2, Jayden Daniels 3, JJ McCarthy 4, then it's Michael Penix, then Bo Nix, then Spencer Rattler, then Michael Pratt, then Jordan Travis, and then Carter Bradley. They also did their next year's as well, and you know, as a Georgia Bulldog fan, I got to throw this in there. They got Carson Beck 1, Shadir Sanders 2, Cameron Ward, then Jalen Milroe, then Graham Mertz, then DJ Ugalele, I think that's how you pronounce that, Noah Fafita, Connor Wegman, Jalen Daniels, not Jayden Daniels, Jalen Daniels of Kansas, and then Quinn Ewers 10th. Quinn, you know, a lot of people are very high on Quinn Ewers. They got Quinn Ewers at the bottom, barely making it into the top 10. Then you also have Tim Hasselbeck. When he talked about Drake Maye, he said, quote, "I've been at ESPN for 15 years evaluating quarterbacks as they come out of the draft. I think he's as good of a prospect as I've evaluated in the entire time." So you know, from the Matthew Staffords to the Matt Ryans, to you name them over that stretch, Andrew Luck, I think he's that good of a prospect, unquote. That's very high praise for Drake Maye again, but it's not necessarily about who these guys prefer. I think the closest we could get to predicting who the Commanders may end up taking is who they feel like they're more than likely going to take based off of what they're hearing. But then again, you never know, because Adam Peters could be completely just throwing out there false information. Any inside source that asks him, he prefers Drake Maye, but he's telling people, yeah, we're kind of leaning towards Jayden Daniels, just so people can put that information out there. And then you also have Hayden Winks, who did a pretty good breakdown of Drake Maye, just in like the shortest to the point, and I agree, breakdown. Drake Maye trending towards a split decision among credible draft analysts. I've seen one of the best prospects of the past decade to frustrating feet, accuracy, and decision making. I feel like he's both. I feel like the ceiling wise, you could argue he is potentially one of the best quarterbacks to come out of the draft in a while, and really over the past few years. But then at the same time, the inconsistency and the downside, I mean, super boomer bust. Super duper boomer bust. I definitely agree there. I am definitely a guy that prefers Jayden Daniels, but I would be happy with either one. I want to make sure I keep saying that every video, because I feel like, again, like I've said before as well, if Jayden Daniels didn't exist, all of us would be on the Drake Maye train. We would all be very excited. I feel like if Drake Maye didn't exist, all of us would be excited about Jayden Daniels. I mean, there's of course some people out there that may prefer JJ McCarthy, but I feel like a lot of the people who are fans of Drake Maye would come to the Jayden Daniels side if Drake Maye just never existed, and vice versa. So at the end of the day, I'm the type of person that just feels like both of them can be great. I trust this coaching staff to take the right guy and to develop them the right way, build the right offense around them, give them the offensive line, the weapons, the play calling, the scheme around them to get the most out of them, to bring out their strengths and to hide their weaknesses. So no matter who we end up taking, I'm excited either way. I personally prefer Jayden Daniels slightly, but I'm happy either way. Just to let y'all know, just to keep reiterating that every time I talk draft quarterbacks in any of these videos. Oh, Georgia just got a recruit. Yes, sir. But yeah, man, that's the end of this video. Make sure you still farm that like button, still farm the subscription button, and still farm the bell next to that subscription button so you get notification each and every time I release an informative and opinionated video just like this one. Make sure you stay tuned to all of the content. Really appreciate y'all. Again, make sure you go check out the social medias. Make sure you go follow those. I'm starting to be far more active on those. So Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all of that. And of course, y'all already know my Twitter. That's where I'm always active. That's where I'm at 24/7. So make sure you follow those, of course, as always. And man, I appreciate y'all. Let me know in the comment section how you feel about all of this. Again, I've already acknowledged that this is lion season, so absolutely everything that we talked about in this video could be completely false, but it's still just for the fun of it. Of course, let me know which quarterback you prefer and why. If you're the type of person that prefers JJ McCarthy, definitely try to sell me on that in the comment section as well. I'm gonna try my best to try to read and reply to as many comments as possible. Make sure y'all stay tuned. More content on the way, mock draft on the way, all of that. Make sure you don't leave this video without leaving a like. I really appreciate it. I'm gonna catch y'all later. I'm out.